Many people have asked me what my favorite stuff is. Well, my favorite stuff I'm about to show you. I have a goofy love for Puppet Master. If you're familiar with Puppet Master was a film made in 1989, the original one, at least the first one, 1989, by a company called Full Moon Entertainment, which is now called Full Moon Features. They have made such goofy movies, not goofy movies, but strange movies. Strange movies as Demonic Toys, Gingerbread Man, Evil Bong. Yes, it's called Evil Bong, and it is exactly how it sounds. They've also made a movie that many of you might be familiar with, at least people who were born in the 80s, called Prehysteria from 1993. And Prehysteria was a very strange movie, but kids loved it. It was odd, it was strange, it involved dinosaurs, so who wouldn't love that? So Full Moon Entertainment was known as kind of bringing in movies that were odd, strange, maybe no other movie development would take them. So no other companies that were making movies at the time would take these types of films. Full Moon Entertainment loved taking these types of films. They would make them, develop them, they would turn into cult classics. And Puppet Master is no different. They are still making Puppet Master to this day. They have multiple movies. I couldn't even tell you how many movies there are of Puppet Master. But we are going to kind of bring in a few Puppet Master items and see what you think of them. This is just a DVD that I own. Honestly, I don't really pull this out very often because I have them all on digital. So I don't really pull them out, but you can see this one's got, what, 8, 9 movies on it. And since then, they've already done multiple others. Puppet Master, the original one, like I said, was from 1989, I believe. And it's got some of my favorite characters. It's creepy, it's weird, it's strange. It was perfect corniness for Halloween, and that's exactly what we're celebrating, is the first day of October, ladies and gentlemen. And let's go ahead and go over some creepiness due to that. One thing I'd like to bring in before we go too crazy is a couple comic books that I do own. This was Puppet Master #1. This is one of their first series. They did do a comic book series. They're not very popular. You won't find very many of them. They had a very low print run. So when you do find them, they tend to be a little overpriced. But as you can tell, they are very gory and gross, and the art is certainly unique. And once we start getting into some of these characters, you'll kind of understand where I'm kind of going with some of this. Let's start with my favorite and the quintessential puppet from the series. Let's talk about Blade. Blade was one of the first characters that I think we all just fell in love with. And this is all of my figures are loose. And mainly because I don't like to buy stuff in boxes, because I don't know. I don't like to store boxes. I guess I would rather take a look at the character and hold the character and feel the character and put them on a shelf and let people see them and hold them than to put them in a box. But now Blade, now let me back up. So the characters themselves, obviously they are puppets. They're developed and made by somebody inside of the movie, which is one of the primary antagonists named Andre Toulon. And Andre, this all takes place, and usually most of the movies take place in the 40s around Nazi Germany. And the antagonist, Toulon, he actually makes these characters, and then you find out later that it's actually a Egyptian spell that allows a deceased person's soul to go into one of these puppets. So each of these puppets is actually a character who has died from the movies. In most cases, if they haven't been in the movies, they've been at least identified in the movies as somebody who Toulon knew, or somebody else in the movie knew, and had actually put that soul into this puppet. So this puppet, this is Blade, and this is actually a scientist. This is the soul of Dr. Hess. It's actually modeled, so you can see his face. It's actually modeled after the Nazi villain in the movie, Major Kraus. And I'm going to bring in the second character immediately. Now, this character wasn't known until the second one, but this is Mephisto, and Mephisto actually has... nobody really technically knows where Mephisto came from, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's obviously like a devil-type character, and as you can tell, his face is very similar to if not identical, to Blade's. So some might say that Mephisto came before Blade, but so Mephisto again came about in Puppet Master 2, and I actually have 2 of these figures. One of them is a special edition, and I'll show you a few different special editions, and I'll kind of put them probably right here because I can't quite remember which one's which. This is for sure the original original Mephisto right here, and this is the special edition Mephisto, and as you can see, they're pretty cool. Each one's got its own color scheme, and they're certainly pretty rad. He can take the energy, pull the energy from you. Pretty neat guy. So I'm going to put these guys away. I'm going to show you one of the other main characters. So we had Blade. Now this guy is pretty cool. This is Jester. And Jester is the soul of Hans Siderman, if I pronounce that right. He was a bookkeeper, actually, during the 1940s that Toulon knew, and he liked to play jokes, and one of his jokes went a little too far, and he was killed by the Nazis. So, opposed to his soul obviously going away, Toulon put his soul into a Jester. Now this toy specifically has a cool feature. In the movies, his head spins, and this hat doesn't quite stay on him very well, but you can see he kind of gets mad to sad to happy. He's got all kinds of different faces you can play with. So, and his head will spin and everything else in the movies. It's super creepy. He does spin from the back. So there's Jester. Jester's pretty cool. Another one that is certainly many people's favorites is Pinhead. They call him Pinhead for obvious reasons. And again, pretty simple little toy, pretty simple little character. His head comes out, mainly because in the movies his head is always moving around. Now, Pinhead is the soul of Hermann Strauss. He's a truck driver, actually, who would drive food to the Jewish ghettos during the 1940s, and he would do it kind of in secret until, of course, the Nazis found out and killed him. So, again, he was put into a puppet to live eternally. Now, he's obviously extremely strong. He can move things around. Most of his powers, I guess, within the show or the movies, if you could say that, is strength. He can pretty much do anything he wants. He can move things around, pick people up, throw them, the whole 9 yards. But he's only itty bitty, so kind of funny to watch him. So that is Pinhead. Another one, which is pretty popular, is the Tunneler. Now, the Tunneler is kind of the OG too of the Puppet Master gang. These guys are a little dusty. This one does have two different. Actually, it's got multiple, but I do have two of the colors. This one right here is kind of this greenish color. This one's kind of a gray. And again, I don't really remember which one's which, so I'll put the types right here. And almost every single one of these characters has some kind of special edition color scheme. And I'm trying to collect what I can, but again, I like them loose. I don't like them in boxes. So these two guys are pretty basic. As you can tell, he's got a kind of a war type outfit, and his head spins. And you can take a wild guess on what this dude's strength is. We will put this right here. As you can see, there's Tunneler coming right through somebody's face. But Tunneler is the soul of Joseph Sebastian. He was actually a soldier, of course, who got stuck working in salt mines until he died. So he was put into a doll a little bit later. So there you go. There's Tunneler. Very cool. And that was kind of one of the OGs as well. Now go in to characters that came in a little later. Torch is certainly a different type of character. Torch is certainly many people's favorites. And as you can tell, he's very apocalyptic looking. And this one specifically has red eyes, and this glows, as you can tell. Pretty cool. So But Torch obviously has a torch right here, and it comes out and you can pretty much catch people on fire. And Torch, really nobody really knows a lot of his backstory. Really nobody knows what his soul, who he is, who his soul is. He's actually betrayed Toulon in the past and betrayed other people, and then he, like all the other characters, has been a anti-hero as well as a villain in the past. Pretty much all the characters have been at one point or another. But he is specifically violent. He is, in most of the movies, he is violent and usually catches people on fire. I think it's the second movie, if I'm not mistaken, he actually catches a child on fire. He's got bullets for teeth, and yeah, he's specifically extremely violent. Some people think he's actually the soul of an animal, so he's not even a human. That would explain why he's violent and doesn't really think before he acts. So some people think he's actually a villain from another movie that we haven't seen, or that can just assume. And then again, some people think he's an animal and he's not a human at all. So there's certainly some question about him. But Torch, he's always pretty cool. So one of my favorite characters, and definitely a favorite of this series, is Six Shooter. And Six Shooter is, again, one of my favorites, and certainly probably one of yours. And as you can tell, he has 6 arms, and he's got 6 guns, and he's got this cool bandana that comes up and goes over his face. He's certainly a funny character. He doesn't really change facial features or anything. Again, it's a puppet, so they don't really change much. But this is the original one. This is the OG right there. And this is the special edition. And the original one, you could tell, and he's kind of creepy too. Like, he crawls around like a spider sometimes, crawling on walls. But he's a sharpshooter. He knows how to shoot. He's got these little guns that, yes, they will kill people. And these actually do pop off, more or less. And the Six Shooter, again, has another unknown origin, if I'm not mistaken. Nobody really knows where he came from. He popped up, I think, in the second movie, and he was just one of the puppets that Toulon had. And this was before his wife died. So Toulon had a wife, and then actually is the one loose figure from the OG series that I don't have, and that's Leech Woman. So Leech Woman was Toulon's wife. I believe her name was Ilsa, if I'm not mistaken. And she was actually killed by Major Kraus, who Blade was designed from. So Ilsa was actually put into a puppet called Leech Woman, and it is quite literally a female puppet who secretes, I guess you could say, or pushes out leeches out of her mouth. And apparently leeches kill people, which they don't, but in this universe they do. To them, it's super, super creepy and weird, but that's actually one of the few loose figures from the original OG character set I do not have. So I'm still looking for her. So besides these main figures, so of course we have multiple, figures that we can say, these are loose, these are fun little figures. These were all developed, by the way, and made by Full Moon Entertainment. So these are the original characters made by Full Moon Entertainment. There is a series that just recently started coming out by NECA, and I've mentioned NECA in the past. And NECA actually got the rights to these, or the creation rights, so they are developing these little NECA figures. And I do have the first set, so let me show those to you as well. So there's Tunneler again. So you remember Torch. So there's the Torch. There's definitely more to the accurate colors. You can see his little bullet. Actually, his mouth does open and close, which is kind of neat. So this is certainly a little bit more accurate of colors for him. And so there's Torch. Okay, that's Torch. Let's go ahead and show you my favorite, which is of course Blade. Everybody loves Blade. And Blade does come with a second head, which of course is bloody. They did make a movie that was designed around Blade, and I think it was actually called Blade. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see it. These movies got a little too corny for me, but I do enjoy the corniness to a point. So we all love our Pinhead. This really truly shows you how Pinhead he is. But I love this design. Holding onto his wrench, or his tool, whatever the hell that is. And this one's pretty accurate to the color. Hands. And last but not least, we have ourselves Tunneler. And there's Tunneler with those dead, dark black eyes. And yes, it spins. His head does spin, much like his counterpart. Pretty cool. They got them right. I'm pretty happy NECA has this license, because I'm really excited to see some of the other characters popping up in this size. Tunneler did have a secondary head as well, with his eyes more closed. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is some Puppet Master love right there. And I hope you enjoyed my quick little synopsis on Puppet Master. If you think about it, watch one of the movies. Watch the first one and the second one. Those kind of break things down a little bit. Then it starts kind of getting goofy after that, but all the movies are goofy. All of them are campy and weird and strange and odd, and some of them are certainly better than others, but that's kind of what they're known for. So, you know, when you do watch these movies, certainly understand that you are watching it to giggle, you're watching them to laugh. But there is certainly a creep factor with these as well, just due to the creepiness that they are. And you know, I hope you enjoy yourself. Watch the movies, enjoy them. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the movies, what your favorite part of the movies was. Let me know what you didn't like about them. And we can certainly bring in more as the days and episodes progress. So have yourself a wonderful, wonderful October 1st. Bye-bye.